Sitaram, once more welcome to SWA DHARMA, our weekly program carried exclusively on Sankhya TV, a program where we try to make the individual very much aware of his or her responsibilities and their role in the family, in the community, and by extension the nation becomes or realizes its full potential. In our last program, we dealt with the 5 yagyas which each individual should get involved. And remember, all the way from program 1 coming down, prayer structure, the 5 yagyas, etc. The whole purpose really is that these facets of Sanatana Dharma ought to translate into the human's life, making one be of full benefit to society and to the needs of society. This week we'll be on program 15, we'll be touching on the 6 qualities one should develop. The program is divided into 2. We'll deal with 3 this week and 3 the following week. So we reference the 6 qualities. We are using Ramayana, Balkand, and the Chaupai says, Jo nahi kare Ram gunagana, jiha sudadur, jiha samana. Here, Bhagwan Shiva was telling the world through the medium of Parvati Mata about the glories of Sri Ramchandra. This is the very beginning of Ramayana. And Shankar Bhagwan says that tongue, jiha is tongue, that tongue which does not find time, and more so with a degree of regularity, to chant the glories of the Lord. Such a tongue is equivalent to dadur, to a frog's tongue. We come back to that. The point being made, first of all, is chant what about the Supreme Incarnation Sri Ramchandra, Ram Gun, the qualities of Ram, the characteristics of Sri Ramchandraji, which should find themselves translated into each and every individual's life. The number 6, and this is what Shankar Bhagwan tells you all, that we should pattern ourselves. Those noble characteristics should find a place in our character build. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, it is not the want of man to take the ideal and bring it down to the level of the real. Rather, it should be the real should be carried to the level of the ideal. So Shankar Bhagwan says that these qualities, regardless of our shortcomings here and there, we should try to imbibe, make it part of our build, and in that way near the ideal, what is expected of us as human beings. So, if not, the tongue will be like that of a frog's. Now, two quick points there. The frog feeds by trapping insects when it flicks out its tongue, and that tongue has toxic substances which paralyzes its prey, and they ingest it. So Shankara Bhagwan, it is metaphorically being said here that tongue become poisonous, which does not take the name of the Lord of all likeness and understanding, and more than take the name of the Lord, chant or recite or recall his guna, his noble characteristics, as we see, which number 6. First of those qualities, we'll be dealing with 3 this week, as we have said. It's sama, composure. And here we reference Bhagavad Gita, the 2nd adhyay, the 2nd chapter. Matra sprashastu kaunteya shitoshna sukh dukh daha agama payano nityastan statiksasva bharata. Bhagwan Krishna, again passing the message to us through the medium of Krishna, says the problem, Bhagwan Krishna, Arjuna, matra sprashastu kaunteya, we allow reactions, emotions to flow to and fro when we permit the senses to be distracted by the objects of sense, by the things which alert the senses. And he says we have to understand, Bhagwan says we have to understand agama payanoditya stan satikshasva, that these things are anitya, they are impermanent. The pairs of opposites, shitoshna, cold and heat, sukh dukh, misery, pleasure and pain, these are pairs of opposites which have their lifespan. They are not permanent. There are situations, they occur, and we need to make the necessary adjustment. Sukh, pleasure. One says, well, why should we await the dawn of dukh, of misery? Why should not man stay in the state of sukh? Because as we have identified, our texts have identified, that pleasure is but an interval between two pains. So sukh, pleasure. Reference again in Ramayana. Shri Ram Chandra, as heir apparent, news came that he was about to ascend the throne, become king of Ayodhya. Pleasurable moment, sukh. Then, quick on the heels of that intention, came the request of Kaikeyi Mata, whereby Shri Ram Chandra now had to volunteer. He volunteered himself into exile. A painful experience, especially for denizens of Ayodhya. Then his triumphant return to Ayodhya, having destroyed Ravan, and preparation for his enthronement as king of Ayodhya 14 years after. Sukh, a moment of pleasure. And then when all that was done, the request came from that base request came from the Dhobi, the washerman. And as we all know the history of Ramayana, Shri Ram Chandra, according to Rajniti, according to the protocol of politics, had to ask Sita Mata to exit the kingdom, and that is pain. So sukh, one doesn't conceptualize sukh as the plane of joy that one needs to remain on. It's really Anand is the higher stage. So Bhagwan Krishna tells the world that if we allow the senses to be distracted by the objects that alert the senses, then we need to temper the senses. And by tempering the senses, that first quality spoken about here, sama, where there is a bit of balance, composure in one's meanderings in life, comes to the fore. So which senses we are talking about? We are talking about in Sanatana Dharma, we talk about the Panch Gyanendriyas, the 5 senses of perception. We have the 5 Karmendriyas, the 5 senses of action. But specifically, when it relates to sama or becoming composed in life, these are the 5 senses that we are referring to, the 5 senses of perception. So first of all, the eyes, which are dominated over by that manifestation of God, Surya, the sun god. And then, if we seek out the blessings of Suryanarayan Swami regularly, daily, then we could look forward to something beneficial coming to these physical eyes. The blessings of Suryanarayan Swami, as Kagji told Garud Maharaj in Uttarakhand in Ramayana, Jnana Virag Nayan Udgari, when these eyes can see the world and see his or her fellow man with Gyan, with spiritual wisdom, that whoever it is has that spark of divinity in them, and Virag, when there is detachment, because attachment produces pain. When we look at situations in a clinical manner, detached, then these eyes have really opened at that point in time. So we seek the blessings of Suryanarayan Swami to evoke that response of the eyes, all leading to composure. Too many times we allow the eyes to bring a state of depression, even passing depression, that we need to circumvent. Then the nose. The nose are controlled by the Ashwini Kumars, the physicians of the gods, the twin sons of Suryanarayan Swami. They sit on the nostrils. And so we want to woo their blessings. So we have already, the world knows that scents and odors affect one's behavior. And so these nostrils should be subjected to the fragrance of dhoop, of agarbatti. And where do we find that? Is in prayer. So having found themselves there, that's where the Ashwini Kumars, that's the type of fragrance they want to inhale. The fragrant flower too, that we offer in puja. And in this manner, we get their blessings so that that which we inhale becomes beneficial to even the devatas, the airs. The airs are controlled by the Dashtikpal, the guardians of the 10 directions, led by Indradev. And Among the blessings of these Dashtikpal, including more so Indradev, is that you begin to listen to things or to listen to conversations that are beneficial, not mudslinging, not slandering of people's names, but beneficial conversations. We move towards that direction, much more so like in a regal manner. That's why we talk about the blessings of Indradev, where we carry these is in that type of environment. The tongue, of course, alerts the taste, and Varun Devta, the god of waters, sit there. By his blessings, one will find that even for health reasons, the tongue will find the tastes that, or subdue the taste buds and eat and partake of things that are beneficial. We have spoken about non-vegetarian diet in a holistic sense, but even for medical reasons, products, animal products are carriers of cholesterol. Even for that health reason, we need to subdue the taste buds. And finally, in an effort to gain some sort of composure in our lives, we temper the fifth of the senses here, which is the sense of touch. And the beneficial, the upside of that, it's that's how a chela, that's how a disciple gets the blessings from the Guru, by touching the feet of the Guru, more so the great toe of the Guru. And likewise, if one has negative vibrations and the touch and talk and so forth, it's something that we have to be very careful about because it affects one's aura. So then we come to the second of the 6 qualities that lends to composure, to tempering the senses, and that is Dhamma. Dhamma is self-restraint. Reference in Ramayana again, Aranyakand. This is from Sivri Katha, as Satsangi people will know. Shata Dhamashil Virati Bahukarma Nirata Nirandhar Sajjana Dharma. Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra told his devotee Sivri that the highway to devotion, bhakti being unconditional love for God, in summary, unalloyed love for God, and that is the highway to God. There are pathways to God, like Vairagya, like dispassion, like Gyan, like spiritual wisdom, but the highway to God is bhakti. And Shri Ramchandra tells the world that reaching the highway of bhakti is like ascending a ladder, rung after rung after rung, but it's a 9-rung ladder, 9 steps to devotion. So Serikatha essentially reflects the 9 steps to devotion, not the 9 forms of devotion. The 9 forms of devotion, it's far different, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, etc., etc. So that 6th step of devotion, Shri Ram says, Shata 6, Dhamma. It is multifaceted. That 6th step has Dhamma, which is self-restraint. It has Shil, a bit of tranquility in one's responses, and Virati, an inkling of detachment in one's mannerisms. And really and truly, these 3, when combined, really brings out and highlights the Dhamma, or the self-restraint, that is a quality of the 6 qualities we ought to make part and parcel of our lives if we want that character build to reflect its true potential within the human structure. Of the restraints, there are many restraints. 2 that quickly, or 3 that quickly come to mind is in anger. It is so easy for someone to rub us wrong and we react angrily. And that has its inherent dangers, because again we quote and we reference Ramayana, Kiskindha Kand, Shri Ramchandra speaking to Lakshman on Pravarsan Parvat, Kho jatakatahu milahi nahi dhuri, karai krodha jimi dharma hi duri. He told Lakshman that, look, now that the rains have fallen, all the major pathways are cleared of any dust. He says, so too Lakshman, the rain of anger clears what dust on the pathway of life? The dust he speaks about here is dharma. Dharma hi duri. Dharma moves away, goes far. All the components of dharma, they move away from us when we become angry. So it is a work in progress, but we have to attempt to control and restrain anger, restrain in eating habits. How many of us, if we don't have that coffee at the morning time, you know, we're not balanced for the rest of the day. We're on edge for the rest of the day. So this and other references, we have to also have a bit of restraint. Don't be too attached to food items. We have to eat to survive. Yes, there'll be favorites, but without the favorites, that should not make the day topsy-turvy. And we also have to restrain in our wants, because sometimes a human being does not have the capacity to separate wants from needs. For example, a young fellow who now has got his driving license might want a fast car, and having got the fast car, might decide to challenge his skills on the road, speed. And then once we speed on the road, the reflexes drop a bit, and that is where untoward fatalities and accidents can occur. We don't want that. So we don't really need a fast car necessarily in this example. We need a car, a good functioning car, to move from point A to point B. It's not a racing track. So even in our wants, we need to restrain those, because, as we see, there could be potential dangers and consequences that are not really beneficial. The third quality that we deal with today, that third guna, is titiksha, or forbearance. From previous satsang that we have done, we know that the mentioning with devotion of the Panch Kanya, the 5 females in Sanatana Dharma, in our daily prayer, that helps to give us the forbearance. We'll reference it here. And we are speaking about Om Shri Ahilya Draupadi Tara Kunti Mandodari Matabhyo Namaha. That is the prayer we're referring to. And so we reference Ramayana for highlighting a good exemplar of this quality of forbearance. We are in Lanka Khan, and after deep conversation between Ravan and his spouse Mandodari, Mandodari declared, Kala danda gahi kahuna mara, hare dharma bala buddhi vichara. She says, really and truly, Kal, being Yamraj, the god of death, doesn't use his dand, he walks with a staff to destroy anyone. What happens is that we destroy ourselves. And how do we do it? Hare dharma. We allow dharma to fall away. We compromise dharma too many times. And I mean, dharma, when we say Sanatan Dharma, Sanatanis, it is founded on 4 pillars. So if a structure, a house, is founded on 4 pillars and one of them has a crack in it, the house is under threat. So none of the pillars of dharma should really be compromised. And so when we do it, that is the beginning of the end. In Ravan's case, the first of those 4 pillars is Sat, Shauch, Daya and Dan. Sat, the truth. The first of the pillar, Ravan allowed it to shake and to crack, because the truth of the fact, he admitted, Karadushan mohi samabalvanta. When Shrupnaka, his sister's his nose was struck off, Karandushan, his brothers, Ravan's brothers, went to avenge that. And they were destroyed by Shri Ram and Lakshman. And when the news reached Ravan, he said, Karadushan mohi samabalvanta. Kar and Dushan are equal to me in strength. Whoever has destroyed them, I will also fall victim at their hands. So Ravan knew the truth. And after the counseling and nice exchanges between himself and Mandodari, he refused. Self-denial. He buried the truth. And that is where the downfall of Yamraj stepped in. Not through Yamraj overt movements, but Ravan slipping in Dharma Bala. One's strength. When we, you know, life puts its challenges to us, and we buckle and we fall, and the inability to dust the pants and get back and fight the battle, that inability, it's where we become durable or weakened, and that too, we allow challenges to get the better of us, change and shape our personality, not in a desirable way, and that's where the beginning of the end continues. Buddhi. We should always be students in life. No matter how advanced we are in life, in age, we have to expose ourselves to new concepts, to new ways of doing things. When that doesn't happen, that is where also death steps in, and Vichard, when we take too simplistic views of things. We try to simplify everything, but life is complex. Vichard is deep thought. To everything of consequence, to every happening of consequence, deep thought, it cannot be reactionary. Deep thought has to be exercised so that we will come to a plausible solution. So Mandori told Ravan, and tells the world by extension, that forbearance, under these circumstances, she couldn't change Ravan's mindset, but that was her spouse. And she remained there as the Patarani, and she showed that the tolerance one has, one must develop, the forbearance one must have. Even in adverse circumstances, she retained her civil mannerisms. So we continue the references, the many-sided face of titiksha or forbearance. And here Shri Ram himself exemplified. We refer Ayodhya Kand in Ramayana, Pita Deen Mohikan Raju Jahasab Bhati Mor Barakaju. Here he is in conversation with his mother Kaushalya. He had to break the news to her that from coronation, pending coronation, Oma, I have decided to volunteer myself into exile. So the life, palace life as opposed to forest life, are poles apart. So there had to be a degree of forbearance in it. And the Lord points the way. First of all, he tells her, Ayodhya is too small for me. Pita Deen Mohikan Raj, he has made me king of a vast, a greater span of land, vast domain. Ayodhya was too small. And he says, but most important, Jahasabhabhati Mor Barakaju Uma, my greater works have to be done out in the forest lands. So sometimes when circumstances push us into a situation, an environment where we are not enjoying the best of physical comforts on others, but we have made our concerted efforts to be in a comfort zone, it has not yet happened. We have to take solace and refuge in the example set by Shri Ramchandra, and he made the best of the forest life. For instance, redemption of Kaband. He got a chance to redeem Kaband, to help the downtrodden. So sometimes we don't find downtrodden people in posh environments and where everything is hunky-dory. We find them in the trenches. And sometimes if we are there, we are put there by Bhagwan to do as he did, to relieve the downtrodden and distress. He told Kaban, Puja Viprashil Gunohina, Shudrana Gunagana Gyan Pravina, inspiration to the sages and saints. Of course, the sages and saints would sit with him in satsang night after night during his stay in the forest lands. Sages like Sarbhang, sages like Agastya, etc. Protection of Sugriv. Sugriv, in the case of Kaband, the downtrodden, in the case of Sugriv, a prince in waiting, Shri Ramchandra restored his ascension to the throne, his rightful ascension to the throne, and Ravan. Many times we think, we often tell ourselves, well, look, the wicked are prospering and the good, they are suffering. Well, sometimes life is not a sprint, life is a relay. And just as in the case of Ravan, after 14 years, he too met his Waterloo, he too met his downfall. And yet we use another example, again from Ramayana. Ramayana, Nana Purana Nigamagama. The opening of Ramayana says that is the contents, the essence of the Puranas and the Vedas are contained in the Chaupai's Dohas Chand Sota of Ramayana. Banadokanath kahe bahutere, bhaya vishara paritapa ghanere. Sita Mata was implored by the Lord, you remain in Ayodhya. And she says, and look at the challenges they will have in the forest lands. Prabhu Viyoga, Lavalesha Samana, Hoina Sava Mili, Kripa Nidhana. She says, my Lord, I will face all the miseries that the forest life throws at me, all the fears, all the sorrow, all the elements, the challenges of the element that you have pointed out of love, I will face them, but my rightful place is at your side, because Shri Ram Chandra carried the title of a husband. If we profess to be husbands, then we are given 7 vows, among which it is said that fidelity, extramarital relationships are a no-no. If one has gone down that road, then this vow becomes challengeable. Sankhya Dharma goes on to declare in those vows that domestic violence is prohibited if we have to carry the title, the rightful title of husband. Not only physical abuse, but verbal abuse, gali, obscene language, derogatory remarks to our spouse, to our wife. Those are traits that remove the title of a husband, and is not such a husband Shri Ramchandra was at all. He was the ideal spouse, hence through thick and thin, his wife was with him. So in this program, we have dealt with 3 of the 6 recommended characteristics that we all aspire to, who using references of our text, more so Ramayana, we hope to give the examples that will make it a road that we can possibly walk upon. Once again, on behalf of Sankhya TV, we thank you for joining us, and next week we continue our program on the 6 Gunas. Sitaram.